Picture a baby being born 20,000 years ago. No hospital, no doctor, no clean plastic crib waiting in the corner. Just firelight, cold air, blood, pain, and a small group of people who know this can go wrong very fast. Because a human newborn is not exactly rugged outdoor equipment. It cannot walk. It cannot hold its head up properly. It cannot politely explain why it is screaming like a tiny alarm system made of meat. And yet, babies survived often enough for humans to spread across deserts, forests, ice sheets, and islands. So how, if infant death was common, what gave one ancient baby the best chance of making it through those first dangerous years? First, we should be honest. Many babies did not survive. Many mothers did not survive either. This is not a cozy story about nature handling everything perfectly, like some gentle forest-themed customer service department. Ancient infancy was dangerous. Infection, difficult births, cold, hunger, and accidents were always close by. But that is exactly what makes the real answer impressive. Human babies did not survive because people were simply lucky, or because parents followed some magic instinct and hoped the universe was in a good mood. They survived because humans built systems around babies, not machines, not hospitals, not tiny Stone Age baby monitors. Habits, skills, food, memory, extra hands. Long before modern medicine, care itself became one of humanity's most important technologies. And humans badly needed that technology because our babies are weird. Compared with many other animals, a human baby arrives early, helpless, and extremely high maintenance. A foal can stand quickly. A baby chimp can cling to its mother. A human newborn shows up like the species hit publish before the file finished loading. Part of the problem is our bodies. Walking upright changed the shape of the pelvis. Growing bigger brains made babies' heads larger. Put those two things together, and you get a difficult birth followed by a baby that needs constant help afterward. Great design, very stressful user experience. Human infants also need a huge amount of energy just to grow that oversized brain. So from the first hour, survival depends on warmth, milk, protection, and attention. A lot of attention. One of the first survival tools was probably other experienced humans at the birth itself. Human delivery is awkward. Babies usually rotate on the way out, and they often emerge facing the mother's back. That makes a completely solo birth harder than it is for many other primates. Another person can help position the mother, calm her, guide the baby, clear the baby's mouth and nose, handle the cord, help with the placenta, and react if bleeding becomes dangerous. Later ancient societies, like Egypt, Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome, give us written evidence for midwives, so we know birth knowledge could become a real social role. Prehistory leaves fewer receipts. Advice does not fossilize. A steady hand does not leave a neat little label in the dirt saying, "Helpful aunt was here." But given how risky human birth is, many researchers think some form of practiced birth help goes back very deep. In plain English, people learned this was not a one-person job. Then there is the thing almost every ancient baby needed most: breast milk. It was food, water, calories, immune support, and comfort in one very efficient package. Honestly, for a newborn, breast milk was the original all-in-one subscription plan. The first milk, called colostrum, is thick and packed with protective substances that help a newborn fight infection. Frequent nursing also means frequent body contact, which keeps the baby warm, close, and checked on all the time. And in many women, heavy breastfeeding can delay the next pregnancy for a while. That can space births out and slightly reduce the chaos of raising several tiny humans at once. Because one screaming baby is survival, 3 screaming babies is a management crisis. Chemical traces in ancient bones and teeth suggest that in many past societies, children were nursed for years, not just a few months. That varied a lot by place and time, of course. But the big pattern is clear. Feeding a baby was not a side task. It was the center of early survival. But milk alone was not the answer. The real advantage was the network around the baby. Anthropologists call this alloparenting, which just means someone besides the mother helps raise the child. Grandmothers, fathers, older siblings, aunts, older children, and other group members all mattered. Some later societies had wet nurses, meaning women who breastfed babies who were not their own. In smaller groups, relatives and close allies could carry, guard, soothe, fetch water, prepare food, and give the mother time to recover or work. Studies in some historical and living communities even suggest that involved grandmothers can improve a child's chances of survival. And that makes sense. A mother who can rest, eat, heal, or simply sleep because someone else is holding the baby is not getting luxury service. She is improving the odds that both of them make it. Humans, in other words, are a team baby species. You can see that teamwork in something very simple. Carrying babies all the time. Slings, wraps, arms, animal skins, and later, cradle boards in some cultures. Whatever kept the child close and secure. Soft cloth rarely survives in the ground, so archaeology is annoyingly bad at preserving the ancient baby carrier section. There is no neat display shelf labeled Stone Age stroller alternatives. But the logic is obvious. If adults are walking, gathering, cooking, moving camp, or crossing rough ground, the baby cannot just be parked on a convenient flat rock and asked to stay put. Being carried keeps an infant warm. It makes breastfeeding easier. It protects the baby from falls and some predators. And it means someone is always monitoring breathing, crying, and general baby chaos. Skin-to-skin contact also helps newborns control their body temperature. The stroller situation back then was terrible. Now, no one in prehistory had germ theory. They did not talk about bacteria. They did not have a microscope and a tiny lab coat. But people did not need a microscope to notice patterns. Clean water is better than dirty water. Fresh bedding is better than filth. Keeping a newborn warm and dry is better than leaving it cold and damp. Across many traditional societies, birth and infant care include washing, caring for the cord, managing waste, and rules about who handles the baby and how. Some of those rules were practical hygiene. Some were symbolic. Sometimes they were both. Later written cultures give us clearer examples, with instructions about bathing, swaddling, oils, and care after birth. We should not pretend every remedy worked. Some helped, some did nothing. Some may have caused harm. But the idea that ancient people had zero medical knowledge is just wrong. Then came the next dangerous stage, weaning. A baby could survive birth and nursing, then run into trouble when new foods arrived. That is when germs, diarrhea, and poor nutrition started waiting around like very rude neighbors. Ancient parents had to manage the shift from milk to soft foods, slowly and carefully. The exact menu depended on where they lived. In some places, it may have meant mashed plants, broths, ground grains, or pre-chewed food. Yes, pre-chewed food. Not glamorous, very practical. Basically the Stone Age blender, but with more commitment. In some later prehistoric farming societies, tiny feeding vessels have been found with traces of milk from cows, sheep, or goats inside. That tells us some infants were given animal milk or milk-based foods. Chemical clues in teeth also show that the age of weaning varied a lot. There was no single ancient baby menu, but there was clearly planning, because getting this stage wrong could be deadly. The risk picture also changed over time. A mobile hunter-gatherer band, an early farming village, and a packed ancient city did not expose babies to the same problems. Farming could provide stored food, which was helpful, but it also brought crowding, animal waste, and faster spread of disease. City babies had even more people around, which was great for help and terrible for germs. Basically, more babysitters, but also more ancient sneeze traffic. That is one reason there was no single ancient strategy. Communities adjusted. When babies got sick, people used whatever local knowledge they had. Soothing plants, oils or salves, careful feeding, rest, warmth, and remedies remembered by elders or healers. Later texts from several civilizations show real attempts to treat infant and maternal problems. Some treatments were useful, others were guesswork. Prehistory did not have pediatricians, it had memory. And this is where we have to be careful. The archaeology of baby care is frustrating. Breast milk does not preserve. Songs do not preserve. Advice from a grandmother does not preserve. A worn baby sling usually rots away and vanishes. A grave can show that a child died. It usually cannot show the 1,000 quiet things that stopped other children from dying. So experts have to piece the story together from skeletons, teeth, house layouts, tools, art, later written records, and comparisons with recent small-scale societies. That can tell us a lot, but not everything. We cannot say every Ice Age mother gave birth the same way, or every early village used the same remedies. Some women probably had lots of help. Some may have been alone. Some traditions likely protected babies better than others. And despite all this knowledge, infant and maternal death remained high. Care improved the odds. It did not make the world safe. So what specific thing gave an ancient baby the best chance of surviving? Not one miracle herb. Not one clever trick. Not some magical toughness modern people lost while sitting in office chairs. The best survival tool was the care network. A baby needed skilled help at birth, reliable milk, warmth, carrying, watching, cleaning, weaning food at the right time, and adults with enough experience to notice when something was going wrong. No single person could do all of that perfectly, especially in a hard environment. A group could come closer. That is why human childcare matters so much in our story. Our species did not just invent spears and fire. We also invented the social habit of making fragile babies everybody's business. So if you picture that newborn by firelight again, do not imagine a helpless child surrounded by ignorance. Imagine danger, yes. Imagine grief, because loss was real. But also imagine skill, a mother feeding, an older woman coaching, someone bringing water, someone holding the baby close, someone else watching the other children. In a very real sense, that circle of care was the first hospital. Ancient babies survived not because the past was gentle, but because humans became astonishingly cooperative around the smallest and most breakable members of the group. Long before doctors, we kept babies alive by turning one tiny life into everyone's job.